suddenly the government has changed.
I see.
So we have an unelected government at the moment.
Yeah, your case is a little bit better than Burma.
The
Yeah.
situation is still okay, but more and more restricted.
So
So
anyway,
yeah,
Angelina, we are doing a series of video conversation about
right.
the crisis in Burma. You have something in your mind. I know that we are losing
Yeah.
democracy. It's not just Burma, it's in the region. It's
Yeah.
competition between democracy and authoritarian. So Malaysia is one of strongly, regional democracy. Country. It's better than other ASEAN country. So
Relatively.
I don't know how Malaysia government respond to the coup in Burma and how's Malaysian population position reaction to the coup in Burma. And I also know Malaysia has hosting a lot of refugees. So right now, how they are going to host Burmese refugee? Are they prepared, or is there any difficulty? Why don't you share us?
Now, Malaysia's position
Yep.
seems to be a rather unclear, suffocating kind of position.
Yes.
Actually, in the first place, our government is not ready or willing to accept asylum seekers and refugees. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, the pandemic has also allowed the government to restrict the movement of all the people in Malaysia. Now Parliament is suspended. It's Parliament not working anymore.
Oh
And
my God. Yeah.
So we are in quite a bad position in that we now have no voice, and it's
From
all
government.
the government is leaning towards being authoritarian. That's from my perspective. I mean, my own opinion.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that if there have been so many incidences of people, the COVID-19 has been used as an excuse to make arrests of many people. It has been used to impose extortionate fines on people, which it was for breaking SOPs. It was at first 1,000 ringgit a person. That's the penalty. And it's also had a jail term. But now they've increased it to 10,000 ringgit.
Oh my
which
God.
is just
It's big money.
Yeah, it's completely extortionate. And that's why people, and everything is so unclear. All the instructions given are unclear, and we do not know what we should do and what we should not do. So most people are sort of trying to do the minimum.
Who did that? It's just Prime Minister alone, or who did it single decision, or it should be some kind of democratically elected group or committee should do something, institutionalize it.
We have in the first place, this government that ousted the last elected government like you.
Yeah.
They came in and pushed out the other government by buying over MPs.
But you have state parliament
so they are not elected.
acting, right?
Sorry?
Your parliament is still acting. They
No.
convent parliament, no more convent parliament.
Our parliament is shut down.
Oh my God, it's almost
Yeah, that's
similar
how
to
bad.
Burma.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I
And
see.
then when the Burma Myanmar coup happened, the government was allowed in saying, oh, we don't want this and all that sort of thing. I mean, the position in ASEAN is quite the same, in that everybody doesn't like it, but they seem to be softening now.
Malaysia is just they shut down parliament and no election. Only the different thing is they are not shooting gun to the people, right?
Not yet. Not yet, but we still have
Burmese case, they shoot the gun even to the kids and all
because a lot of
teenagers
people got out.
and old people. They shoot everybody. It's terrible.
I'm following that issue, and but in Malaysia, what is happening is they have brought in the army as well as the police.
I see.
And the army are fully armed.
Oh my God!
For no reason, they are fully armed, and that's why how they are in that sense threatening us. And the police are also can go in and do whatever they like. Because I don't know, and there's a lot of fake news, and that's a problem also. Because if you have fake news, you don't know what is true and what's not true nowadays. It's hard to distinguish, and it's hard to find
misinformation.
So that adds to it. So everything is sort of going downhill. But then people here are very frightened. I mean that's they've been very frightened, and they are trying not to resort to violence. The people are trying not to give the government an excuse for violence. But I do not know how long can go on, because the thing is that things are getting worse. Now we cannot cross state borders at the moment.
I see.
Because they say that, because of COVID-19, we are restricting you to only your state. Before that, we were under lockdown in a sense that we can't go more than 10 kilometers from our homes. So we couldn't travel. Then now they relax a little bit because the economy is suffering and they want to make money.
So
we are stuck.
This Malaysia atmosphere also affected to make a good policy for Burmese coup, right? If atmosphere is good, they can make better policy to support democracy. I mean, the latest Malaysia policy on coup in Burma, they will support the military regime or they will support democratic government or pro-democracy activists. Which side they are right now?
I suspect, I mean, I came across an article just before I talked to you that the energy minister, our ambassador in Myanmar was talking to the Myanmar energy minister under the military regime. Looks like Malaysia is kind of leaning towards saying, okay, we will accept the military, because we have never made any very strong stand.
I see.
Because they have this, ASEAN has this, this principle of non-interference, and Malaysia has always adhered to that and always used that to not to interfere and to reject, asylum seekers and refugees from Myanmar especially. But overall, our immigration laws do not recognize asylum seekers and refugees. But even migrant workers are having a problem because there are no proper labor laws that help migrant workers in Malaysia. And
I see.
now it has become very, very xenophobic because they had some issue with the Rohingya and they are, you know, they are trying to discriminate. So there's violence committed against migrants and refugees as well. And you know, the police are, I don't know, they say they are investigating, but I do not know how far they are investigating.
It's police also arbitrarily arrest migrant worker and any foreigner, and they are arresting people without any reason. Such kind of a lot of power abuse in Malaysia by police.
Yeah, because the police now have a lot of control because they can arrest people on so many grounds, especially using COVID-19. You know,
I say COVID-19 law.
Yeah. So COVID-19 is a big excuse for them to do whatever they like.
Nice.
The sense that they if you don't have, you know, if they see, oh, you're not wearing mask, they can go and demand money from you. So you know, we have to be very careful even when we go out. They can pick on anything, and things are not clear because some people say, oh, if the SOP is, oh, you must wear a mask, and some say, oh, no need, you know, it's your choice. But then the thing is, you know, nothing is clear, and then they impose a 10,000 ringgit fine without allowing people to appeal.
I see.
So you know, we are really under such oppressive and draconian what do you call it, rule by the police, in a sense that, and the government says nothing. The government says nothing about that.
I mean, Malaysia is democratic government. You know, if any police arbitrarily arrest innocent people and abuse power, and any corrupt officer, is how Malaysia ever action? They did any punishment to those power misuse and corrupt officer? Any case that they did or they never did?
Yes, there are cases which they brought to court. Some people, they, you know, like immigration and things,
they got fired or arrest something.
They have arrested them and they have taken them to court, and you know, cases going on lah. But then the thing is that it's after that, the bigger ones, you know, like in the higher echelons of government, what is, you know, like very quiet.
I see.
And our former prime minister and finance minister is still, you know, he was convicted of the 1MDB. I think you've heard of 1MDB. That he has been convicted, but he's still free. He's still, you know, free. And he said, oh, he's on appeal.
So it means
so you can see what you can see what the situation is.
There are many in action, right? They are knowing but doing nothing.
They want to be seen to do something, and yet it's not anything substantial, you know, anything I could say, you know, is really sincerely done.
Yes.
I don't know. I just can't believe that, you know, they are sincere in their wanting to crack down on corruption.
Yeah.
So even our present government is not an elected government.
Yeah, when is your election schedule? Is no timetable?
I'm not sure whether there'll be an election because
they don't announce any time schedule.
No, the strange thing is the king has made an announcement. Actually, the king has made an announcement that parliament should be open, and still parliament is not open. So how do we hope for elections?
The prime minister doesn't want to open it. Or I see.
The prime minister doesn't even have a deputy prime minister.
Yeah, he is full in control.
If he goes, if he goes away or he goes overseas or whatever, he just chooses one of his group of ministers whom he has, group. He just chooses one of them, and that person's in charge. I mean, the system has gone to pot. We are not following our constitution. I mean, that's frankly so. They want to appear to be following constitution, but they're not.
I see. There's a lot of failed implementation in the government, right? And I see the king also play a big role in Malaysia. Yeah, you still have a lot of king in Malaysia. So you have to judge between king and the parliament, something like that, right?
Not exactly like that, because our system actually is that it's a constitutional monarchy, which means that the king is there as head of state, but he does not get involved in politics.
Yeah.
But when our coup happened, the king looks like the king got more and more involved in politics.
Yep.
Which we couldn't prevent. And so it was just, completely, now the king can influence the politics of the country.
I see.
So before that, the king doesn't get involved at all. Actually, by right, under the constitution, he shouldn't get involved.
So who control the army? The prime minister control or the king control the army? Who the army loyal to whom?
The prime minister and his party and that coalition that's now in power. And the thing is that, some of them are not, they're not even stable as such, in the sense that they are having disputes amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So, and they are, trying to buy more and more MPs from the opposition, which was the government before, now is the opposition. So they are trying to get more and more recruit from the opposition to increase their numbers. They actually have a very, very small majority by 2 or 3 or something like that.
I see.
So
it's very risky.
Things are not very good.
I want to know security forces like army, they are loyal to the king or they are loyal to prime minister? Usually
they are loyal to the government in power, which
prime
means
minister, not the king. In case of Thailand, the army is more loyal to the king, I guess. But Malaysia is not like that.
That we have a bit of difference, but the way things are going, it looks like, in a way, you mustn't say anything against the king. Just like in Thailand, if you say anything against the king, you're in trouble. Even if you criticize, you're in trouble. I mean, you can be in trouble for anything. They have been catching people who are making comments on the net. I mean, lately, I don't know whether you heard about the Malaysia Kini case. Just for, comments on an article, Malaysia Kini was what do you call it? Was taken to court.
Oh, really? That much was
now,
in Malaysia. Because Malaysia is democracy, you know. But I mean, I guess the quality of democracy is
it's relative.
Poor. I mean,
so it depends.
Malaysia is also not yet liberal democracy, you know. And Malaysia is consolidated democracy. I think at least the army cannot step back from the behind, right?
So far, the army has, followed the government.
Yeah.
Whatever government they.
That is at least, safe for the people. But that is the problem in Burma. The army never listened to the civilian government, and they are totally separate institution. Nobody can touch it. They don't want let them touch anybody, and that's why NLD government, democratic elected government, are not allowed to touch the army, and that is now consequent. If you don't touch, relationship is no touching mean no skin. I mean no skinship among the people. I mean between the government and the military, their relationship is deteriorated. I mean, totally separate identity. It should be, mingle, and they have to be joined one identity, but it's not. It's separate identity. So democracy is not consolidated in Burma. Now the consequent military can upper hand anytime they play any role as singly, solo acting in politics. With gun, they can point anybody. Even they point to democratic leader, Suu Kyi, and the government, and they kick them out. So that is not consolidated in Burma democracy. We have a big trouble right now. So I was very sad when Suu Kyi was followed by the army in her house. That time her bodyguard is also lady. She is very loyal to Suu Kyi. She is a Chin ethnic bodyguard to Suu Kyi. She is ready to protect, but even Burmese army pointed the gun to the lady bodyguard. It's a shame,
Yeah.
With a full arm soldier pointing to the lady with a gun. It's a shame. So that is a way how they arrested Suu Kyi. So,
but John, I think it's also because when Suu Kyi came to power, the army was still in control, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem, and the thing is that you cannot. If Suu Kyi had from the beginning, I mean, this is what I think. It may or may not be workable in the sense that if Suu Kyi had not gone against the Rohingya, because the army was intent on getting rid of the Rohingya. If she had not gone against the Rohingya, she could have united the country. She could have united the country because there were people amongst the Rohingya who are willing to support her. In fact, they were willing to support her, but she just didn't. She just ignored that, and she gave over to what the army wanted. So I feel that weakness
She was
allowed this.
She made a gap of relationship between international society and Burma, as she is in power, in control of the government. She could make very very solid relationship with international society. Instead of that, she did get with international society. That example in Rohingya, she did not support in international court of justice. We can see
she chose to support
she made a gap. So that is her weakness. If she did solid relationship with international society, I mean, the world can more in touch and support her.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly after she was thrown out, nobody knew how to support her. She did not have any connection or strongly linked with any society in the world. She may rely on the army, but the army was, untouchable. That is a big mistake, Suu Kyi, what she has done. She should prepare. I've been talking about various video series. She was unprepared. She was unprepared. She should be ready if she knows the behavior of military. She must prepare it. She should do something, the right thing, in advance. Once the coup was come, it's too late. She cannot tell or shout, "Help me," and just riot or protest the military. Because we cannot compete with the army with a gun. The population is no gun. How you can compete? Gun and without gun.
But then the thing is that what I hear from the news is that this, there are paramilitaries in each province, like the Mons, Kachin, Karen, whatever.
Yes.
They have their paramilitaries, and
yes,
it's actually trying to pull them together to unite against the military regime. But then the thing, military regime is also trying to break that out by going in and taking people out and asking them to join them. I mean, they're doing exactly what our government is trying to do with the opposition here. Buying over.
The military drop bomb from the fighter jet, they drop many bombs to the ethnic armed group. I mean, that can be alternative option, but it's not the best option.
No, it's not.
She could done better one before Coup, when she was in power. That is my point. She could done, but she was unprepared. That is the mistake we can see there.
Yeah, it has cost the country though.
Yeah. So Malaysia position is unclear, uncertainty to respond the coup in Burma. I think Malaysia is following Singapore style. Singapore is always, they are not tasted with the democracy, and they never support
They will
pro-democracy,
support whoever is in power because they want to keep the interests.
Yeah, Singapore
It's sad.
it's more taste with they prefer with related to money, I guess. They don't feel any taste about human rights or democracy. But Indonesia may be a little bit better than Singapore, but I don't know how Indonesia reaction. It's not
I think
not good enough, not strongly. He
not
did not
strong enough.
strongly stand by.
I think, but I mean, to me, Indonesia is just trying to, find a path to negotiate all these things to try and try to calm the situation down, to put things back in order. But Indonesia cannot stand alone because there are other ASEAN nations, and what is their stance is important also, because if you want to work on an issue, you have to be united. If you're not united, then it's not going to work. So ASEAN itself is is uncertain as to what to do or where to go or things like that. Indonesia has made a first step, but whether other people will pick it up and go with it, and whether they will do anything that will sort of persuade the military to go the right way, to go to restore democracy. That remains to be seen, because everything now is like in chaos. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and then they use COVID-19 and say, "Oh, we cannot do this, we cannot do that." And, it's an excuse.
So many excuses, I guess. I think Indonesia can make farm decision. Then Indonesia can make team up with Malaysia and Philippines. They can very much able to influence ASEAN position. But in this situation, Malaysia is already in trouble within country domestic politics. That is bad signal, and I don't know. Philippines should do. Philippines is too much vocal, not much materialized thing.
But they have their problems also, lah. Oh gosh.
But Malaysia and Indonesia can do some material things, like
to an extent, if they decide to unite. But the thing is, Malaysia has things that it does not agree with Indonesia, and that's the problem also, in a sense that now we have Indonesian immigrants, undocumented immigrants coming over, migrant workers, things like that, and Malaysia has not laid down. I mean, it's not just we get other people, Myanmar, Cambodia, from everywhere, Philippines as well. All migrants are coming here, and Malaysia has not updated its laws to take into consideration that situation, and that there are many kinds of migrants. You have migrant workers, you have expats, you have professionals, you have refugees, you have asylum, all that, and even UNHCR here has to sort of find a way to do its work, because Malaysia does not recognize refugees, and that's the problem. And Malaysia is
still allow UNHCR to conduct receiving
they say on
refugee, right?
humanitarian grounds. they say on humanitarian grounds, but
Yes.
all the actions and all the regulations, the police and the immigration do not act to help the situation. They just use our laws, which do not recognize you're either a legal or an illegal migrant. You see, you're either a legal or illegal entry. They do not recognize all the different categories, except for maybe they will look at migrant workers. Because of the employers, they will say, oh, you're illegal, you come in legally. But then the thing is that all these problems with migrant workers, you can so easily become undocumented. Because why? The employer can keep your passport, the agents can keep your passport, which under our law is not allowed. Everybody should keep their own passport under our law. And yet, despite this contravention of that law, there's no prosecution for that.
I see.
I've not heard of any case where anybody has been prosecuted for keeping the passport of the migrant worker. And if you're undocumented, it's even worse, because you're saying, oh, you're illegal, so they can do whatever they like. They put them into detention and they'll treat them however they like. And that also has a connection with COVID-19, in the sense that they put all these people into detention, but they don't carry out the SOPs that they are telling us to do. There's no physical distancing. There's no, they didn't even give them face masks. They didn't even give them clean, water or things like that, adequate washing facilities. And things are so bad inside the detention camps. So there were outbreaks of COVID-19 in the detention camps that were quite bad. And so how can you stop a pandemic by allowing that to go, and yet outside you're telling us, the citizens, oh, you must do this, you must do that. And then you say, if you don't do that, then you will either land in jail or you will be fined 10,000 ringgit. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, UNHCR in Malaysia can do full conduct of refugee reception or any related to UNHCR activity. They can do that in Malaysia, or is there any limitation for them?
Well, since the past year or so, UNHCR has been stopped from going into the detention centers to assess for refugees. Assess for refugee status. They have stopped UNHCR going in. And because of the COVID-19 restrictions, those who already have UNHCR documents are finding it difficult to renew them, because UNHCR tells them you cannot come to the office. And now we cannot even cross state borders. So those who are living in the north or living in the south or the east cannot go. Only those in Singapore might go.
Right now, refugee cannot go to UNHCR office?
No, they can't.
Even now?
Unless UNHCR calls you. But we are not allowed to cross state borders, so how can we, nobody can go.
So
UNHCR
how
also
can apply refugee in UNHCR office? Where is entrance? There should be entrance to apply refugee. So
the government doesn't.
No entrance to go to access UNHCR.
That UNHCR always has to negotiate with the government. And if the government doesn't allow, UNHCR can't do anything. That's the sad thing about it. UNHCR cannot do anything. Apart from that, UNHCR is obliged to follow what the government says. Otherwise, the government can kick UNHCR out.
Even now,
and if the government kicks
In the-
UNHCR out of the country.
Now in the
the
crisis
refugees
of
will have problem.
Coup in Burma, around the world, they open up for refugee applicants from Burma. Why
Yeah.
Malaysia did not open up?
Malaysia doesn't want to accept refugees or asylum seekers.
Or they have
Malaysia-
no plan to open in the near
No.
future?
No. Malaysia doesn't want to discuss it. Malaysia insists that it will not sign up to the Refugee Convention. No, we have so
Malaysia did not sign up, but they should
They still
allow
don't want.
UNHCR to operate it.
No, that's only on certain grounds. They say, oh, on humanitarian grounds, because they can't manage it. So anyway, that was since the 1970s when the Vietnam War was going on. You know, the problem in Vietnam, so some of the Vietnamese were coming over here.
Yeah.
And when that happened, because they were not so many, so they restricted the Vietnamese. They put them on an island off the east coast. But then the thing is, now there are over 100,000 refugees. You know, and now because of the problems, because of the conflict in Myanmar, even more. Well, we expect more to be coming, because already they're on the Thai border. People are running, trying to get out from Myanmar into Thailand, and the Thais also have a problem. And then those boats that came even from Bangladesh, because the camps, the Rohingya camps, are so terrible. We had people come by boat to land in Malaysia, and they pushed them back. They arrested them or they pushed them back. Some of them were even pushed right to the sea and just left there. So that is how Malaysia does. That's what Malaysia does.
Last time, Malaysia government sent back some migrant or refugee to the Burmese military ship. Because court stopped for deportation, but later the government sent it back, something like that.
The court NGOs got an injunction from the court. But then the thing is, despite that, the immigration just sent back over 1,000. Then there was some more here. And so the court, people were saying, no, how can you do that? That's contempt of court. And then they said, okay, we won't send the remaining back. But the ones that have gone already gone. The military sent a Navy ship to pick up these people.
Yeah, I mean, in Burma, how they keep them? They are in prison, or where they put them?
At the moment, I suspect that they must be either in prison or God knows what. I don't know.
No information.
Because now they have because they cut the internet. The military government has cut the internet. So even the reporters, even the journalists that I see, it's hard for them to get information out of the country as well.
Yeah.
So for us NGOs, it's even even worse, because we don't even have that press, the sophistication of the press communications. And this is how this is how we communicate, like I'm communicating with you now.
Yeah.
On Zoom, on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, freedom of media is still restricted in Malaysia, right? So
yes.
Malaysia has a lot of restriction. You have limited freedom, right? Even in democracy. So I mean, Malaysia may did a little restriction on the issue of religious perspective, because Muslim countries are usually restricted a lot of freedom, especially to the women, to cover up their face and the whole body. I mean, restriction for the freedom of women. In that sense, the Burmese military, they propaganda, you can see chief of army, the leader of Coup, General Min Aung Hlaing. He was now along with his wife, wherever any event, special event, his wife is accompanying him. Is unusual as before. Usually his wife was rarely seen in the past, but now his wife is along with her. He want to let the people know, I don't interest any woman. I'm very loyal to my wife, and I'm fully obeying my wife. I was with my wife. She is, people may let them think she is a respect woman, and women are a special position, and woman has full right of freedom, something he want to get credit. And it seems he is doing cool because of his wife. He's listening his wife. He did not listen any other people, even his deputy chief of army. Now he listened more to his wife compared to his deputy chief of army. So do you see a lot of young people on the street in Burma? They are protesting. A lot of teenage lady, they protesting. We need women right, women freedom. They want to express. We don't want military. We don't want dictator.
Right.
We don't want restriction, but we just want women freedom. But loyalty to his wife, it doesn't not necessarily represent. I don't think so. That is freedom for women.
It's just a show.
Showcase,
because, yeah. Because the thing is that, just like our former prime minister, that maybe was a different case in a sense that, she shouldn't have got involved in the politics either.
Yes.
Because that's not her role to play. She's not an elected member of parliament or anything like that. So, so he is using, to an extent, he is using her as an excuse. And saying, oh, she said this, so he must follow. I think that is what is happening with this.
I mean, many politicians, they are using women for political coverage.
Yeah.
And
there's no real freedom.
Yeah, I don't think so. That is represent or given freedom to the woman. And I understand the lesson from Burma that women freedom, I mean, it's more important than dictatorship or authoritative system. I mean, usually Burmese military accused or other pro-Western country, they are Western lifestyle, sexual relationship, a lot of among young people. We don't want this in our country. We want, disciplined democracy. That propaganda is not true, did by military. So young people could express sexual relationships, not issue. The going out woman is not big deal. The big problem is dictatorship, authoritarian. That is the issue. That sexual relationship is less important than dictator or the military coup in Burma. So coup, dictatorship, that is more crime, not sexual issue. That's I see the woman on the street a lot.
A sexual relationship is a private thing.
Yeah.
Government. The issue is, are you putting the right people into government?
Yes.
You can have a number of women, but they can also be the same like the
Yes.
men. They can be dictators as well. They can be, that they will not have, they may not have, right?
Yes.
They may not even have a concept of democracy, just like the men. So equal rights is what needs to be emphasized. Equal rights. If you get paid so much for the work you do, and I do the same work, I should get paid the same. But in our country, I'm talking about Malaysia, but it happens in many other countries as well, is that for the same kind of work, the man gets paid more, the woman gets paid less.
Yeah.
And that is where, there is no equality, and women's rights should concentrate on equal rights rather than all these, things that really do not affect the general problem, so to speak, the general problem of no democracy. Because you put the same kind of person there, there's no difference. So we have to look at the situation and analyze it and say, okay, how is democracy affected, or how can you change the situation just by putting a different person there?
Yes.
What kind of person do you put there?
Yeah.
So that's the issue really, and not how many women can you get, or what my relationship is with somebody else. It's not. That's not.
You know, Min Aung Hlaing should better have a lot of sexual relationship with many women, but throw away his wife. And he could not do dictatorship or coup in Burma. That's better for Burma or politics in Burma. Because coup in Burma is more problem. He made a lot bigger crime. He destroyed the country. He have sexual relationship with other women, and he might have not in mind to do coup. They have a lot of they have big psychological problem because they mind is full with power hungry, abuse power, about gun and weapon and power, full in their mindset. We have to replace those mindset. I see on the news, social media, one of a young officer, military officer, he say, a lot of women like me, a lot of young women like me. I am a smart guy, an army officer. For the sake of my army, I throw away all that women. And he is joining the coup. And he is strongly propagandizing. He hate women. He saying something bad thing on women. Women are, usually Burmese used to be, even they used to say Aung San Suu Kyi was the white guy wife, something like that. They want Western guy, those who are liberal lifestyle, they accuse them. They like Western guy or those Western people. So
because a lot of governments use that kind of tactic.
How do you think religious perspective, Malaysian a Muslim country, they may feel a little bit they have a concern about Muslim community in Burma and other ethnic uh, uh, minority religion compared to Buddhist. I think Malaysia usually speak out about religion issue, right? Muslim people.
Yeah. Yes. You see, Malaysia's position on Muslim issues outside the country.
Yeah.
It sounds very positive, right?
Yes.
They'll speak up, or they will say things, oh, mustn't what do you call that? Mustn't you feed the Rohingya and things like that. But
Yes.
because Malaysia does not recognize refugees and asylum seekers and things like that, or rather, it's very the environment within the country is quite different. In that Muslim migrants and refugees, foreign Muslims are not treated equally with local Muslims. Malaysia has its own brand of Islam.
Yeah.
What is practiced in Malaysia is in a number of ways different from from the understanding of Muslims, foreign Muslims who come into the country. So,
Malaysia is also IOC member, they actively participated.
Yeah. Malaysia, yes, is an IOC member, but nonetheless, Malaysia has its own, understanding of Islam.
They are Shia or Sunni Muslim?
They are Sunni.
So same with Rohingya, Bangladesh.
Yeah, but the understanding is different because Islam is made up of different schools of thought.
Yes.
And there's no one unifying kind of thing. I mean, okay, you can be Sunni or you can be Shia, but then within that, there are also divisions as to how you practice practice is similar, but their interpretation is different.
Yeah.
So Malaysia has its own kind of interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on religion, so I won't categorize this kind of interpretation because there is a certain school of thought that
at least Malaysia did better than Thailand, because Thailand Buddhist country, but they doesn't have the Buddhist Burmese people. Thai policy is always with the dictator military government in the past. They never support pro-democracy or the majority of Buddhist people. So Buddhist religion thing are nothing in the region for Burma. Burmese Buddhists never get support from outside Buddhists and never get support from Hindu and Muslim, and other things are far away. I can see more Christian even support more than Buddhists from outside for Burma. Most Western are Christian country. Why they have to support Buddhist country? They can feel like that, but Buddhists are not reliable for Burma.
Yeah, I think if you categorize it like that, you might say that because most of the Western world is Christian, and they are, if you look at it, because the Christians in Asia are minority.
Yes.
And it just depends on what the interpretations are, what the factions of you have different denominations and things like that, and they have a different sort of understanding of the same book, of the same religion. I mean, if you look at Judaism, Christianity and Islam, we all have the same roots, right? We all come from, we are called the people of the book, which means we have the Old Testament, the New Testament, and that, it comes from there because they have the same background. They originated the same place, right? So it's the interpretation. But if you look at the reality of it, the Western countries have become more secular. They don't place too much significance religion. In fact, the congregations in the churches have shrunk. Very few people actually go to church or things like that. So, and yet there is, I think it is difficult to actually categorize that, more Christian countries are supportive of.
That's true.
That's all human rights and things like that. But the thing is that it's just that the background, the understanding of originates from what we have been brought up. No, but some people, if you look at it, those countries who have a socialist background may do not place a lot on religion. Their principles will come from their socialist understanding or their Marxist understanding. So what values within all those so-called faiths, right? What is your Christian? What values have you grown up with as a Christian?
Yes.
And the same thing, applies. But nonetheless, there's such a thing called universal values, which